Let's take you to KZN now, where we find one of the big stories we're tracking for you this afternoon, and that's of a fire that wreaked havoc at the Dakota Informal settlement in Isipingo Beach, eThekwini in KwaZulu-Natal last night. It's estimated that over 400 structures burned down. No injuries or fatalities have been reported. SABC News reporter Vusi Khumalo joins us now for a live update. Vusi, thank you so much for your time. Now, we've seen earlier devastating visuals come out of there. We've also seen some of the residents, they essentially picking up the pieces of their lives there. What more can you tell us this hour?
Yes, the amount of devastation is very huge. The residents here are saying that they've never seen such amount of devastation since they've been in this area about 12 years. Some of them, they're saying that they've been here for more than 12 years. There's been some incidents of fires that usually break out here and there, but this year or this time around is very huge, and there are so many victims, more thousands of them, because 300 houses that have been counted already by the eThekwini municipality, which is still trying to quantify the amount or the extent of the damage. They are saying that more than 350 shacks have been razed to the ground. We've also spoken to a number of them. One mother of 9, she's saying that she even lost her spaza shop and a few items that were able to be salvaged. Those items were then stolen by the locals during that chaos that took place when the fire broke out here last night at around about 7 a.m. And there was eThekwini municipality's fire and emergency services and fire brigade that came here to douse the fires. They were able to do that. They were able to douse the fires completely after working throughout the night, saying that they've also only saved 50 shacks, but the majority of them were also, razed to the ground. Let us continue to give you a laydown of what's really happened here by giving you some of the locals' account or testimony as to what really took place. Let's talk to Nontobeko Fagazi. She is originally from Eshowe. Sisi awusitshele nje kafushane njengoba sikhuluma nawe phambilini uvuma ukuthi soyenza le interview sokhuluma naye futhi ubhuti nje okhululeke awusitshele ngomonakalo wenzekile ngesikhathi kwenzeka wena kahle hle obukuphi kwenzekeni yini oyibonile yini okwazile futhi uthi uyihlenge.
Ngenkathi kwenzeka bengisendlini kodwa bengubukela kude cause ubuqhamuka ngala ngase Black Sabbath ngingayitshena ukuthi uzofika endlini weza ngamandla usuphusha na umoya umlilo afika ama lifeguard lindo ahluleka nawo umlilo kanti ususeduza umlilo ngakhona ukukhipha impahla zokugqoka.
She's saying that when the firefighters came in here, when they arrived here, she was only able to save a few items, but sisikwaqhubeka angazi ukuthi ngesikhathi umasipala sizwe kuthiwa ubukade uthi abantu abakhahlamezekile abahambe baye ehholo. Nina nenze njani ile holo likhona usize nilitholile?
Besingezwanga bese already singasolwandle azwanga size sezwe kuseni abanye bethi balalile ehholo phezulu Isipingo Beach emajaldina asizwanga.
She's saying that some of the victims of the fire were only able to sleep at nearby places. They also sought refuge from the nearby homes that were also not burnt. Sisi wena nilalephi kanje nabanye abantu abakhona la indawo njengoba uthi anizwanga about usizo lokuhlinzekwa ngehholo lomphakathi?
Silalile phezulu khona lapha kodwa besingalalanga ubuthongo because bese sigadile nempahla ezinye bese intshontshiwe vele.
Benilale kuphi nindawo?
Silale phezulu lapha ngasolwandle.
Kwi-structure nokushelter noma ehlabathini?
Endaweni nje engathi inotshani like sabeka ipontshi.
Okay. She's saying although they were not, they were fearful of their clothes being stolen by the locals there. They were only able to sleep in an open field just on the sand dunes here because this area is very close to the beach. Let's talk to some of the local authorities now. We're going to bring in eThekwini Ward 19 Councillor Mr. Nobuth, who's going to tell us about some of the assistance that has been provided already by the municipality in order to mitigate the impact of the fires that took place here in this area of Dakota. We usually hear the usual occurrence of the fire breaking out every now and then here. What sort of promises that have been fulfilled so far? Because this is not the first time these fires happen here in this area.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for the opportunity to raise a few matters. Yes, I agree fully that the conditions under which the community, the dwellers are living here is not conducive to good living standards. And the Human Settlements Department, eThekwini, have plans really to provide proper housing for this community. And they have really suffered tremendously during the flood time and here and there when there were fires, smaller ones which were really put off. But this was a massive one, and the situation became worse because of the wind, which really fanned the flames and spread as far as possible. Fortunately, there is a break to my left which separates the rest of the settlement, and that really was saved. But yes, I do agree that there were challenges that the disaster management faced last night with regard to housing, and these really have been overcome. And I've been told by the disaster management team who are present here at the moment that there will be tents that will be pitched in the Dakota Beach parking lot to my right, and the rest of the dwellers who are really without any homes will be housed in the Isipingo Beach Civic Center. And yes, it's all systems go, and all the services are on hand, and every attempt is being made really to expedite matters so that this really will be resolved as soon as possible within the next few days. That's the undertaking that I've been given by the disaster management.
And the long-term solution for the residents here who are staying in shacks?
Yes, as I said earlier on, that there are plans afoot really to provide proper, better housing for the dwellers here at Dakota Beach Settlement.
And also some of them saying that they didn't hear a call for them to congregate at the community halls, as we've just heard one Fagas here saying that they only slept at the open field in sand dunes because this area is very closer to the beach. Throughout the whole night they were there.
Yes, what has happened is that by the time the disaster management team and others who were really concerned about or part of the whole system came down, there were not many people left over here, and whoever was over here were taken to the Isipingo Beach Community Hall. And like I said, there were challenges that they faced, and these have been overcome, and there will be proper accommodation temporary tonight.
Okay, and also the clothing items such as school uniforms that has been lost, and also food as well. Are you able to provide that as eThekwini municipality, as a ward council especially?
Yes, what has happened is that we've had a number of NGOs who really came on board, and we have Gift of the Givers really, who are also going to provide the meals, whatever it is that's necessary. And yes, I agree that the dwellers have lost practically everything. They just had to leave with whatever they had on, and whoever was able to just grabbed one or two items. So we're also making an appeal to the community at large to sponsor whatever items they have, whether it's clothing, whether it's furniture, so that we can have a restart for those who really have been affected here by the fire.
Yes. And also earlier in the week, we heard that the eThekwini municipality has retained 100 million rand that was meant to eradicate such informal settlements. So how come is that happening? Because people are still living in squalor conditions.
Yes, I think that 100 million rand, which has come from state, was really budgeted for obtaining land, private land. This land is already existing. And of course that matter is still under discussion by eThekwini, and I think they are going to appeal that too. Yes.
Okay, thanks a lot, sir, for time.
Thank you very much.
Yes, that's eThekwini Ward 90 Councillor, Mr. Noble. Let's talk to some of the victims, if we can still try to get a word from some of the victims here. Futhi igama nje nesibonga fushane zokhuluma ulimi lwakho olujwayele comfortable kulona. Awusitshele ngomonakalo wenzekile kwena ukuthi yini okwazile ukuyihlenga.
Igama ngolindo kuhle isibongo kaMpele. Ngampela. Ayikho into engikwazile ukuyihlenga mina ngokwami ngoba bengisemsebenzini. Kwenzeka umlilo ngubonile uqala ngisemsebenzini. Ngazama ukuphuma ngawosiza omunye omfethu onomkhukhu wakhe. Washa umlilo zafika icishamlilo ngayitshena ukuthi ziyawucisha umlilo ngaphindela emsebenzini. Ngithe ngisemsebenzini ngawubona umlilo ukuthi hayi ngeke usiya ngasesadini la ngihlala ngakhona. Kwakuthi angihlali ngedwa nginoma nomalume noanti. So bakwazile bona ukukhipha lezo mpahla ezincane mina engikwazi ukukhipha izitifiketi zami phela. Okunye angikwazanga ukukhipha kushele ngaphakathi.
Uhlala nobani?
Ngihlala noma wami noanti nomalume mina.
Okay, siyabonga kakhulu mfethu. Mocabanga indaba usizo la kumi kanjani mhlambe uma ukhuluma nabantu nje ama authorities iphathimandla zalapho ungathi mhlambe usizo ludingeka lapha endaweni oluthini ukuthi ungazi ukuthi nakho endaweni engafanele ngabe nihlala kuyona oqala.
Kudala silwa indaba izindlu la sikuthenjiswa kungenzeki le ndawo ayikho right kodwa ngoba sizela ngoba nako sizophanta sizohlanganisa ikona sigcina manje sesihleli la akona le ndawo ayikho right yebo singalithola olulu xhaso uzithola kodwa kuzobusika nonke isijoba ungekho singaphinde kwenzeke kuphinde kushe. So nje asazi ukuthi into esizayithini manje kusukela manje ukuthi into esizothi sizothi wani.
Okay, siyabonga kakhulu.
Ngiyabonga.
Well, it's one of the local residents. As I'm stepping out of that shot so that Babu Japan can just show you the devastation caused by the fires here last night. Mpele saying that he was only alerted about this fire when he was busy at work. Fortunately, he is working just closer to this area, so he was then able to come and help his friend whose house was engulfed in flames. So he was able to douse that fire together with his friend. But later on, when he returned to his workplace, he was then alerted about this whole area being engulfed by the fires. He then saying that it was too late for him to save his shack that was gutted. So he's saying that he's staying here with his mother and also his uncle. He was only to save a few documents such as his birth certificates and a few other certificates as well, including ID. So he's saying that he's in need of a proper housing. He's saying there's been some promises of them being built RDP houses, but those promises have not been fulfilled as yet. He's saying that this area also is not suitable for human settlement, but he's saying that they've got no choice but to stay here because there are some side jobs or hustling that they are doing in order to feed their families, so they need to be here. Stay here so that eThekwini does help them to help them with some proper housing. As some of the residents who are saying that they do not want us here. This one gentleman who has just come in saying that they are in a desperate situation. They do not need cameras in this area.
Of course, Vusi Khumalo giving us that update there. Stay safe. And of course, coming to us from the Dakota Informal Settlement in Durban.